Many people are asking me about what this banning of blind bidding means and how is this going to affect the real estate market. So currently offers are kept private by law from other buyers. The price, conditions, deposit, terms and conditions, things like that, those are all kept private. So now the federal government has announced that they want to ban blind bidding as they were proposing during the election. And now they have passed it on to the responsibility of the provinces to regulate and implement how this is going to look. In Ontario, they just announced that they are giving the sellers the option to choose whether they want the traditional offer process or if they want the open auction style bidding. And this is set to start in April of 2023. So essentially, in this open bidding system, buyers are able to see what other offers are going to be. A lot of times with my buyers, as we're putting an offer on a place, they're always asking, how much are the other offers? How much do we need to put? Things like that. So in this open bidding system, theoretically, we are able to see what those prices are and we can kind of approach it accordingly. There's still a lot of logistics and details and nitty-gritties of how this is going to look, as they haven't really figured that out yet, and that's why they're proposing it for next year, so they have time to figure all that stuff out. So at this moment, we still don't know how transparent this open bidding is going to be. Is it only going to be the price that is released, or all the terms and conditions and dates and deposit and things like that going to be released as well? We also don't know when the bidding will finish. When does it end? Is there a time limit? Is there a maximum number of increases that you can put on for your bid? Or is there a last man standing type of situation where just go at it until there's only one person left? So this is definitely going to be a game changer of how real estate is done in Canada, for that matter. We don't really know how it's going to really affect the market. Is it really going to affect the price? Or is this just going to be a different way of doing business? Both buyers and sellers have their own needs and goals in a real estate transaction. So let's take a look at what this means in both systems for both sides of the transaction. So right now we are in the blind bidding system where buyers, they can't see the details of any of the competing offers. So when buyers lose, sometimes they feel like they wasted their time because they weren't even close in the running to begin with if they lose by a large margin. But sometimes when it's kind of close, buyers feel like they were willing to pay that price or even more to win that house, and now they feel like they're left out. And sometimes buyers feel like they overpaid significantly because they didn't know that they could have won by adding just a little bit more instead of the significant amount that they did. But it might naturally feel like you overpaid if you're the winner of any bidding war. There are still strategies for buyers to win, to be prepared and to be protected before the offer in this situation we are in right now. You just need to be working with a good buying agent to help you through this process. In this blind bidding process, sellers also have different needs and situations. In a blind bidding system that we are in right now, let's look at the sellers. The sale is regulated to keep it private. This is a private sale for private matters. Sometimes sellers don't want everybody to know their situation. Now, in terms of a blind bidding system, normally, from my experience, is normally 1 to 3 rounds of improvements or bids, if you will, and then it ends up selling. So typically we've been in this hot market for many years now in the GTA and the Mississauga here. We're normally seeing 1 to 3 rounds of offers, and then the best offer is chosen and it's sold relatively quickly. So in a multiple offer situation, a seller has a few options. They can either work with one offer, they can reject all offers, or they can send all offers back for improvement. Sellers can negotiate for better terms or conditions. It's not always about the price. Sometimes they need the better closing date, or they want to have assurance from a buyer that they will close with a bigger deposit, or they just have a confidence in a certain buyer, or Maybe it's just a personal reason that they like a certain buyer more than the others. So this is an option right now that we're in that gives the sellers the deciding factor and planning for their own situation when they're selling their largest personal asset. So in an open bid auction system, let's take a look between the buyers and the sellers and what happens in this scenario. Buyers can see exactly how much they can win and how much they actually lost by. There's more transparency definitely in this system. You can also see where buyers can see how much they need to put in order to win. But sometimes in an auction system, when you can see where other interested buyers are bidding, you know how much you need to put to win or to be ahead. There's emotion that gets involved. There's an auction frenzy that can happen. And sometimes you just want to win. It's similar to what we have now in the bidding war, except you know exactly how much you need to put to win. But so does the other buyer. And so does the other buyer. So this auction open bidding system is already in Australia and New Zealand. And ultimately, they've been using this system for a while, and their real estate market hasn't slowed down either. So one of the strategies to win in a blind bidding system was to have that bully or preemptive offer before the offer date. Now, when it comes to an auction open bidding system, this might be ultimately eliminated. So sellers, in an open bidding system, what does this mean for you? You might need to have all home inspection and information and documents prepared beforehand and given to all the buyers before the auction so that they can make an informed decision. Is the price, again, most important thing for you in the sale, or does closing date and terms and condition also matter to you? So do sellers have to accept the auction price that it sells for, or can the seller not accept that if it's not what they're looking for? So at this moment, there's still a lot of things that we don't know of how this is all going to work and how it's all going to look like. Like, is it going to be a real-time updated offer system where you can see it? Or is this going to be on the street where you can see the whole crowd just around in a big circle and putting their hands up on each bid? Is there going to be a minimum price for a seller that the auction has to reach, or the seller doesn't have to sell? Can the seller refuse the price at auction? What if the buyer doesn't get approved for financing? What happens then? And how can we prevent other phantom offers in this process when there's a crowd of buyers? And what kind of protection does a buyer have in this process if they can't do a home inspection, or if they don't have their financing sorted out before the auction? Is there a condition in their offer? So ultimately, how can we pre-approve buyers before the auction process? Is that a new process? So there's a lot of things that we need to consider. This is changing the system almost entirely, and we don't know what all those implications are. In short, I think it's great to have transparency. I think it's going to more or less have the same results. It's just done differently. When there is short supply and high demand, doesn't matter which way you want to cut it or how you want to do it, the price is gonna keep going up. It's simple supply and demand. But the transparency is great for buyers and sellers because we want clients and the consumers to have confidence in the sale and the purchase of probably their largest asset. Thanks for watching. Follow us for more real estate updates. And until then, we'll see you next time.